So last night's debate was the cause of my massive headache today. That or I'm just sick, but speaking of sickness, Kamala was the definition of a nasty woman last night because she had lie after lie on top of her giggly, constipated tone and expression, and the moderators fact-checked Trump, that's in quotes if you couldn't hear, not once but 4 times last night and kept interrupting Trump while giving Kamala pass after pass for her lies. But that's what happens when Kamala's husband is linked to the ABC top staff. The most blatantly biased debate of all time. But I think we can all acknowledge that this didn't get either side anywhere as far as convincing voters over. But luckily that's my job today, is to go over Kamala's lies with evidence, so moderates and independents can understand the woman we are dealing with, a complete and total fraud.
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. It's got to be smart. We got to do it the right way.
Do you believe in the mandatory buyback of quote-unquote assault weapons?
I do believe that we need to do buyback.
Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
And you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went.
Where do you stand on defund the police?
Look, right. So here's the thing. Defund the police. The issue behind it is that we need to reimagine how we are creating safety. And when you have many cities that have 1/3 of their entire city budget focused on policing, we know that is not the smart way and the best way or the right way to achieve safety. For too long, the status quo thinking has been you get more safety by putting more cops on the street. Well, that's wrong. And then also, again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools and taking police officers out of schools. On that point, Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it, went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
Kamala lied about her gun buyback stance, lied about not supporting the defund the police movement, took the Charlottesville clip out of context, took the bloodbath comment out of context. The female monitor lied about abortion. It doesn't stop there. Kamala also brought up the Trump unemployment scam, saying the Biden administration created all these massive amount of jobs, even though they were bounce back jobs from COVID. Brought up Project 2025, even though Trump disavowed it multiple times. Talked about January 6th being the worst day to our democracy. I think the BLM violent riots and the Trump indictments were worse, but what do I know? And said Trump would adopt a federal abortion ban, even though he's a moderate on that issue. But here's a clip from the Daily Wire detailing all that, plus the times Trump was annoyingly falsely fact-checked by these moderators.
What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals.
If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages.
Migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI defrauded.
Honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people.
And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican.
judge looked at it
And said
they
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread
standing.
fraud.
That's the other thing.
I'm sure I, like many of you, felt the same way when you watched it. Irritated that these biased moderators came with a plan to specifically try to make Trump look bad by writing down comebacks to what they knew Trump was going to say. And of course left Kamala to speak and didn't press her on anything. Can we see all the moderators' notes? They probably wouldn't want that. This is why no one can trust the media, and I get so sick and tired of seeing a system go against Trump. Kamala's not really a person with opinions. She's being influenced and mentored by the people around her to just win. I'm 24 years old, and I can't imagine being a 59-year-old woman and switch on so many issues and lie like the way she did. But that's what people do for fame and power, and it's sad to see. So regardless of what you thought of Trump's performance, you gotta realize all the people he's up against and all the negativity is sent to him on a daily basis. False indictments, false impeachments, false scandals. It never ends for him. But I think this woman on CNN puts it the best way.
What did you see that brought you to a conclusion?
I think it's important to remember that we are voting for the leader of our country and not who we like the most or who we want in our wedding party, but who is actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
She's absolutely right. Debates shouldn't matter because at the end of the day, if we continuously vote our way based on personality, vibes, emotion, whatever, that never leads us to a good outcome. And we have to make this election an election on common sense ideals. Are we better off than we were under Trump right now? Financially, safety-wise, if everybody can sit down and just be honest with themselves rather than look at things from an emotional perspective, we will win this election in a landslide.